Hello everyone, this is Chadi Hassoun, the project manager for Team Skunkworks. This is video number 2 for deliverable number 2, which is the team technical presentation. One minor housekeeping item update: Dia will be the QA lead and everyone else will be QA support as well.
So this is the Excel document that we were given by our mentor Greg over at Emory Hospital. So this contains all of the major categories that he would like to see on our customizable daily rounding reports. And so we'll kind of go into how we use that on the next slide here. So for the initial prototype, we used a software called Figma for the design and prototyping. So again, drawing on our sources for data, we have the rounding report that Greg gave us in the form of the Excel document. He also gave us a diabetes monograph smart application, which is sort of an example that had some good details on what we could put in. So using that, when you broke down the categories into the following, we've got basic patient information, fishbone graphs, medical history, vitals, medications, blood tests, microbiology, and upcoming test reminders. Next slide. So right here are the first few categories. So we'd have basic patient information up at the top, followed by the fishbone graphs. The vertical columns below it, we have medical history, vital signs, and medications. A note on the vital signs here, currently they're in the form of these small graphs to the left. It's desirable to see graphs on things like heart rate, blood pressure, oxygen saturation, etc. But there also will probably be a clickable option to open up another tab that would show these graphs. Next slide. Here are the blood tests section. So as per the Excel document, kind of broken up into these different categories. So we have hematology, basic metabolic panel, comprehensive metabolic panel, cardiac, and more. And each of those has subcategories that the user can click on. All the data is illustrated to the right here. If they were to click on one of these subcategories, I'm thinking these rows would probably be halved in size to allow for illustration of more information. Next slide. Finally, we have bacterial cultures and upcoming tests. So these bacterial cultures are actually like lab results for a patient, what they would have in their history. And a full lab result here wouldn't be able to fit on one page. So most likely these will be clickable, and then another tab will open to illustrate the full lab results. Upcoming tests, whereas another example that we saw in the smart application, and it seemed relevant to this project. Next slide.
All right, so here is the overall technology stack that we're going to use to achieve the goals that were just laid out by David there. So on the front end, we'll have JavaScript using the React framework, Bootstrap, which is a CSS framework for layout and presentation, and Node Package Manager to put all that together. On the back end, we'll have Java and Spring Boot, which lets us do web services in a kind of quick and easy way. That'll run on Tomcat embedded and be built with a Gradle build tool. We do need a database. We'll use Postgres for that, and of course, we'll have Docker and Jenkins for CI/CD. Next slide. So this is how the system architecture will fit together. It will be that React on the front end, like I mentioned, that'll talk to a back-end API server. That's the Java Spring Boot part I talked about. That will communicate to the Fire servers using the Happy API framework that we learned about in class. If we need to talk to other databases, we can do that. And we will talk to the back-end Postgres database for any customizations that we need to persist.
Overall project status is on track. We got done with the prototype yesterday. Thank you, David, for taking the lead on that. Over the next few days, we'll be looking for feedback from Alex and Greg, what else can be done. Thanks a lot.